Hello and welcome to Grade Expectations. I'm your host Grade, and today I have a CGC unboxing for you. So after I did my very first CGC unboxing, I was very disappointed with the grades that I got. I got a 7.5, I got an 8.5, I got a bunch of 9.6s, and I only got one 9.8. And this is from comics that I was buying on eBay and Facebook Marketplace. They were comics that I had pressed, and just the disappointment was unreal. So after that, I decided I would try a pre-screen. So in a recent video I did, I opened a 9.6 pre-screen, and I was very happy with the results. I got 18 9.8s. And 6 9.6s. So just great results. This unboxing is the other half of the comics that I submitted. So originally I had 50 comic books that I had been collecting from the fall of 2020 to the spring of 2021. And what I did was I went through all 50 of them. I felt that around 25 were in good enough condition that I could just submit them on a 9.8 pre-screen without a press. Anything that had a defect or any minor imperfection, I decided to have pressed. And so the 9.6 pre-screen was all the pressed comics that I did see something wrong with originally, and Mr. Kendra was able to get the bulk of those books to a 9.8 status. So now I have the 9.8 pre-screen. And to be honest, I submitted these back in July to CGC. I've been waiting 6 months for them, but I was very anxious and very nervous. This is my first 9.8 pre-screen, and I wasn't sure if I had selected them properly. Really, I was kind of worried that I was going to get 5 books back in 9.8 and then 20 rejects. But the good news is Mr. Kendra has notified me and let me know that these books, 22 made the cut out of 25. So I'm excited to see what I've got. There are a couple duds in here, but I would suggest there's at least 20 good specs. So let's see what we've got. Even though this set of 25 was not pressed and cleaned by Mr. Kendra, I still had him submit them to CGC for me. And that was because he gets a discount with his account. And I was already submitting books to be pressed and cleaned with him, so I just figured I'd have him send them all in. I do have a CGC account. I just generally go through Mr. Kendra. All right. So the box looks pretty good. It was delivered by FedEx. Let's start with the first book. Again, these are all 9.8s, so we'll just more or less see what I have. And the first one is the comic I was hoping for possibly the most. So this is Miles Morales, Spider-Man number 1. This is the 1 in 10 animation variant. And obviously I'm very high on Miles Morales. I would suggest that this is one of his key covers. And I bought this book on eBay. And at the time, I overpaid for this book. I paid about 160 US for it. And the reason was it was listed as a 9.8, even though it was raw. And looking at the pictures, I agreed, so I paid. And it came back a 9.8 with white pages. I would suggest I'm not going to sell a book like this. It's going in the Miles collection, and it's definitely a key cover to me. Great start. When you know there's 3 rejects, you have a list of what you're hoping them to be, and then a list of the ones it can't be. So that was one it can't be. Next, we have Champions Outlawed number 1. So this comic had a lot of buzz in the spring of 2021. It's the second print of Champions 1. And it has a cool Kamala Khan cover. And who's this artist? Simone DeMio as the artist. I just thought it was cool. Kind of like an artistic take. And I didn't have that many Kamala covers. So that one's more for the PC. I think I have another one of those raw as well. But at this point, I don't think it's worth getting graded. All right, next. We have Miles Morales, Spider-Man Number 6. So this is the first appearance of Starling. So with Miles Morales, there are not that many key characters. Like there's Ultimatum, there's Starling. That's about it. Like obviously Spider-Gwen. And so really I think Starling, even though, you know, the books are about 40 US raw, you can still find them in high grade, and it's pretty cheap spec to me. As an iconic character, daughter of the Vulture, and you know, possible love interest also on Champions. So I have been looking for this book. I haven't found that many in the wild and on eBay. So when I do see them and they're in, you know, near mint condition, I am picking them up. Next, we have another Miles Morales, Spider-Man 6, another Starling. I'm not going to be selling these, I don't think. Again, it's cheap spec, but at the same time, there's a lot of potential. So I'll be holding on to them. I grabbed two. Oh, God. All right. One of the books I was hoping was one of the rejects. So this is Wolverine Number 6. This is Micro Suyon Virgin Edition. I also have the trade dress for this one. And it's the first appearance of Solemn. There was a lot of buzz where Solemn was going to be the new, you know, like arch villain of Wolverine. Seemed like a sure thing. Cool design. This is his first appearance, and really it just fizzled. So whether or not in the long run this becomes a more important book, you know, I'm a big fan of Wolverine and Apocalypse, so I don't mind having the cover, but as far as value, this is not going to make me any money. It's one of those early books, you know, like store variants are very hit and miss. And, you know, it's taken me a couple of years to learn. You don't just jump on every store variant, because a lot of them you're not going to be able to get your money back 6 months later or a year later. I wouldn't say I bought that many, and I do still buy a couple store variants, but I really want the cover to pop. And, you know, like I want there to be a lot of desire to get that book, a lot of hype. And then really I'm trying to sell, like, even before I get it graded, in most cases. Next book we have is Department of Truth. So did I miss the Department of Truth train? I would say so. There were definitely a lot of copies available when this came out. I was aware when it came out, and I thought to myself, I should buy some copies. I didn't buy a single one. Now this is an Image book. It's not Marvel, and I traditionally am Marvel centered in my my specking. So basically the hype was building on this book, so I bought a copy. I think I paid $20 for it, and it came back in 9.8, which is great. I actually bought this with my my Miss Marvel #1, my first print of Miss Marvel #1. eBay purchase, and then the guy said, if you want anything else, I'll give you a deal. And so I looked through his other books for sale, and this was one of them. So I grabbed it on the cheap. Definitely will sell. I haven't looked at the values on this, but it was more for a flip. I'm not saying it's not going to go up, because, you know, I like to think I get good spec, but at the same time, it's not my cup of tea. Next. All right. So, Peach Momoko fans out there, this is Venom number 30, and this is a store variant Momoko from Yellow Snow Collectibles. And I saw this on Mutant Beaver, the website, and I just thought it was a really cool cover. And obviously, a lot of Null hype at the time, a lot of Venom hype. And I bought this for my PC. Now, actually, of all the books I submitted, this one and the trade dress, I submitted both. And actually, you know, like, I was definitely sure that they weren't going to make it, because it had, I guess, just the slightest little, like, not even corner rub, but just like a blunted corner. And this one made the cut, which is great. This is going in the PC. It's going on the wall, and Momoko is hit and miss for me, but I think this is just like a huge success for a cover. And if it was a key, I probably wouldn't be able to get one, or I probably wouldn't want to fork out the money for it. So just on a random, Venom 30 is a nothing book, but this cover is, to me, a huge winner. And I'm happy to have one in a 9.8. There are a few Momoko books that I do like, or I covet, but they are certainly few and far between. Ghost Spider number 2, I'm still going to buy one eventually. It is it her? It's definitely her most expensive book. Oh, okay, here we go. So apparently, it was a pretty minor corner. And when I'm looking at this, can I really see it? No, it's almost barely turned up. I do like the trade dress as well. I think it looks cool. So, you know, like, I'll see if I can sell one, but at the same time, I like both, so I don't mind keeping them. Well, I was kind of hoping one of those would fail. So that means a good book didn't make the 9.8 cut. Alright. So, Strange Academy number 4. This is the first appearance of the Hollow, which was the first set of villains, or at the time it seemed like the first villains for Strange Academy. And they kind of fizzled. They just kind of turned back into trees, so I would assume they'll be back at some point. And with Strange Academy, the Strange Academy number 1 had a 1 in 25 and a 1 in 50. And then for 2, 3, and 4, it had a 1 in 25. And this is one of the 1 in 25s for number 4. I would say it's a key issue, and for some reason you can still pick this book up for like $20. So I kind of missed sending this in, just assuming Strange Academy would get bigger, better, more expensive. But I am happy to have a 9.8 for this book, because in the long run it is going to be important. And to be honest, a couple times I've thought of just buying more of these raw, because again, they're so cheap. For 1 in 25, it's like less than ratio. It is a key. I get the cover's not great, but at the same time, it's an early Strange Academy, and they seem to be available for some reason. Might want to have that on your radar. Okay, next. We have Amazing Spider-Man 53. So this is a cover buy. I believe it's a 1 in 10, and it's basically the PS4, PS5 game cover. Definitely a Miles cover key. Looks awesome, and I basically bought it from my LCS just to put up on the wall, and I'm glad I got one, and I'm glad I got a 9.8. Looks awesome. It's definitely a Miles book. Really, I haven't seen that book much, like on the internet, so who knows? Maybe people are desiring it and they just can't find it. It's for the PC for me. Next, we have Amazing Spider-Man number 53. This is the first print. And so with this book, obviously, when it came out, there was a huge amount of hype. And I love the cover. Obviously, behind me, I have the 9/8 Gleason Virgin signed. And now I have a 9/8 of just the regular. So I think I pre-ordered maybe like 4 copies of this book because I did get a little hype beforehand, and I knew it would be a hit. In retrospect, I should have bought 25 and sold as many as I could. But I think I sold 2 and I kept 2. And this one looked like a 9/8. Again, it's like a very black cover and a black back. So at the time, I thought this would be a very hard book to get in 9/8. And I got one, so that's great. It's not one I want to sell. I wanted to have like the collection of all of them. All the raw books, we'll open up and see what the duds are in a little bit. Next, we have War of the Realms, New Agent of Atlas, number 1. So this is just the A cover. Came back in 9/8. This was one of my first specs, and so I did buy a few copies. They all seem like they were in great shape. Obviously, in a previous submission, I got a 9/8. I've already sold a 9/8, and I think there's at least one more of them in this box. And my thoughts on this book. So I would suggest there are actually quite a few 9/8s, and I don't know the exact number. I remember seeing maybe 1,500 9/8s, and I was a little surprised at how many had been submitted and come back in mint condition. So that's kind of reflected in the price. So, you know, when the price is, say, 180 US, I think the one I sold, I got just over 200 US, although that was in the spring, or maybe around May, so maybe the peak. You know, that's cheap, but at the same time, keep in mind there are a lot of these. Now, if something happens with New Agents of Atlas, and it's certainly like an international superhero team, and you've heard some things about like Swordmaster, you know, in Silk, it could be a big deal. Like if it suddenly they're in Shang-Chi, the second one or the third one, who knows? It could be a big book. And there are a lot of first appearances in it. So right now, I'm sitting on them. And, you know, if I'm going to sit on them, they might as well be 9/8. So I'm happy to have it. Love getting all 9/8s. So pre-screen is definitely a success, just even opening them. You guys know I like Strange Academy. So this book conveniently has been hyped up a lot lately. This is the Strange Academy number 2, the Art Adams character spotlight. And this book came out just after the pandemic hit. Strange Academy came out, I think, in like March, right when the pandemic hit. And this is May. So underordered. Definitely a key character, although obviously he's on all the Strange Academy 1 covers other than the character spotlight. But really just a cool cover, like a very fun cover by Art Adams. Doyle Dormammu has been featured in Timeless, and he's going to be fighting his dad. More people are realizing that the Strange Academy characters have legs, and so this is a book that will stay in my PC for a long time. Not one I would sell right now, and to be honest, it's still a buy. I love the character spotlights for 1 and 2. Behind me, you can see Strange Academy 1, the character spotlight for Emily Bright. I also think is a huge buy, and if I see them in the wild, I'm definitely picking them up raw. Now that being said, I see very few Strange Academy books in the wild these days, so either they're all getting graded, or there really aren't as many out there as people think, even though it is a book from 2019, 2020, 2020. Definitely a cool book. One of my specs for sure. I would say that Taskmaster number 3 is the best spec of 2021. And that is because it has a very low print run, something like 15,000. Nobody knew ahead of FOC or ahead of time that this was going to be a first appearance. And I think people have really, embraced Taiguchi and Tiger Division as a possibility. And so Taskmaster 3, this is the first print. When they came out, people bought them and read them. I was lucky enough to buy 10 copies online the week it hit. And then obviously I went hard on the second print, which has Taiguchi on the cover. But I love this cover. I recently bought the 1 in 25 Art Adams, and I've actually bought 2 more copies. And I'll have a separate video to talk about that book and why I think that is a very important book. But for now, 9.8 on the A cover. There are, I think, about 150 copies of this in 9.8. And we'll see how many more there are. I definitely have a bunch of these just squirreled away. So at least 8 copies that are, all 9.8 candidates. And I thought I think I sent 2 in to be graded, and we'll see if both came back 9.8. Again, this is very early spec, and this is not one that I would want to sell. All right. Next, we got another New Agents of Atlas. I've already gone over this one. Very happy that both copies came back in 9.8. Honestly, I think I paid $12 a book for this, and then grading for me is, about $30 US. Shipping to Canada is brutal, and shipping to the States is brutal. So it costs more for me than other YouTubers. Well, that's weird. One sec. The back right here just felt really weird, like almost coarse. Looks fine. Everything's fine. I'm surprised. All right, Daredevil 25. This is the first appearance of Elektra as the female Daredevil. This book did not have a lot of hype coming out, and I think it has a fantastic cover. And there was hype for a couple months, and that's kind of died, even though Daredevil being Elektra, or Elektra being Daredevil, has been very successful, and now she's starting her own solo Daredevil series. So I think this is a key. I think it's on the down low, and it's worth picking up. And I'm happy to have one in a 9.8. I think it's a great cover to look at. It is a key. The cover's awesome. So to me, it's a sure thing. Now, it's not going to be a huge amount of money because it is Daredevil and Elektra, but to me it's key, and I'll be picking these up if they're in the right price range. And hopefully not selling. What's next? Oh, yeah. All right, another Taskmaster 3. Again, to me, it's the book of 2021, and it's still underappreciated and still very, very early in the life of the character. I'm getting down in my box, so I have an idea of the comics that are still possibly rejected, so I'm thinking about it. Alright. Next, we have Strange Academy number 2. This is the regular cover, the A cover. And I think this is part of the reason that the character spotlight didn't get a lot of love, because this cover is great. It is fun. It shows off the main characters, Emily and Dormammu, And I don't know, it's got color, it pops. So overall a great comic. And I have a few copies of this book, but I did want to make sure that I had them in 9/8 if I was going to, you know, be collecting Strange Academy, which I am. Next, we have Strange Academy number 1. So this is the B cover, the J. Scott Campbell cover. You can see I have a signed Virgin cover of this. I definitely have at least one other copy of the B cover. And this B cover to me is super cheap. When I line up all the Strange Academy 1 covers, my wife, for instance, thinks this is the best cover. And when it came out, I thought this was the best cover. I appreciate all of them now because I have so many, and you know, I like to look at them, so I think they're all pretty fun and cool. But this J. Scott Campbell cover is fantastic. And underappreciated and undervalued. So if you're priced out of the 9/8 of the cover A, this one's good too. I have a couple 9/6s of this book that I've been trying to sell. No luck, no hits. You know, a couple people watching it. I'm not really willing to drop the price because, again, I believe in Strange Academy, but at the same time, I have been trying to sell it, and people aren't buying. So, you know, when people zig, you zag. So if you are interested in Strange Academy and you like this book long term, this B cover is cheap right now compared to what it'll be in 5 years. All right, Strange Academy number 2. Again, 9/8. Good to have multiples. What's better than 2? 3 copies. I'm glad they all came back. Running out of books. I have a feeling my cover A did not make the cut. It didn't make the cut. All right, last one. Strange Academy number 4. And again, this is the 1 in 25 for first appearance of the Hollow. And it came back in 9/8. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. All right, we got 3 books that got rejected. What could they be? All 3 of these I will definitely have Mr. Kendra press with my next submission to him and resubmit them and hope for that 9/8 because again, I thought they were all great. I have had a few Strange Academy cover A's rejected, so I'm not actually that surprised. Oh shoot. Never had rejects before, so. Okay, first one, Strange Academy number 1. This is the A cover. Like it looks flawless to me. Now, obviously, I can't see the back, but Something is Killing the Children number 1. This is the 7th print local comic day foil cover. I have seen a number of other YouTubers that have submitted these, and they're getting rejected. So I don't know what it is. This one looked super. Maybe it's not crisp. You know what? It's not a 9/8. Top and bottom just have like the tiniest little edges. And when this book came out, I did think that this was good spec, and I purchased a number of copies from an online retailer, and they were all mangled. A lot of significant damage in this book, and it could just be the way Boom shipped them out, but they're all getting rejected from 9/8. Maybe people are just, like the graders are just sick of seeing them. Because, again, they were super cheap, and there was a lot of hype, so it makes sense that people would be submitting a ton of them. Last one. I'm a little surprised with this one. This is Wolverine Black, White, and Blood number 1. This is the error edition, so I think there's some copies of, or like some pages from Venom in it. And then additionally, I feel like this cover is missing the white. I'm a big fan of Wolverine. This was just for the PC to have on the wall. I thought it looked cool, although it is quite red looking at it now. So now I don't know what to do with it. I don't know if it's worth getting pressed and cleaned and resubmitted. I'll take a look at it and we'll see. But honestly, I didn't want this one rejected. The other two, who cares? Very successful CGC submission. Currently, I have 75 books that have been submitted. Well, 50 are submitted and 25 are kind of in limbo, and we're working on that. But one is a 9.8 pre-screen and one is a 9.6 pre-screen. So the clock's ticking. I would assume it's going to be another 6 months, but I have seen some people getting their books back in 4 weeks. Now I'm over 4 weeks now, so I guess I wasn't that lucky. But at this point, as somebody who specs on comics, I have had the cycle enough times where I think I've submitted, maybe 140 books now. I've been able to sell for a profit some of the books that I've gotten back. But then you're submitting more books, so it does take a little while to ramp up to have books at CGC, books coming back, being able to buy more books and kind of start the cycle again, and keep spec for yourself, like for the long term, and keep some PC books. So I'm still learning how to do this. I think it has been pretty successful so far. I feel like all my CGC submissions have been great, at least in the last 8 months. And I think the system is working. So if you're very vigilant, looking for books, if you're very precise on like a stickler for everything to make sure the book is mint, you can have a lot of success doing the flipping. And that's what I've started doing. My collection's getting bigger. Again, I do want to buy and sell in order to buy an X-Men one. I haven't sold any big books, so I've still got a couple big books, like Ultimate Fallout 4, the 1 in 25. I have a 9.6 of that, and some other books that I think are worth quite a bit. But, I'm in it for the long run, and I didn't expect to buy an X-Men 1 in like a 6 or a 7 right away. It's going to take years. But that's kind of the fun of it too. I'm not, trying to make rent doing this. It's just to start my collection right with the book I really want. So this has been Grade with Great Expectations. Successful CGC unboxing. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the books, the spec. It's kind of funny, now that I have waited so long for books from CGC, it's funny seeing what I submitted and what I think about them 6 months later, or in this case, it's more like 9 months later. I think I was pretty successful in the books that I was targeting. For the next batch, I think I've got pretty good taste on what's worth grading and what's worth going after, and what doesn't have legs. Like I didn't buy any punchline stuff. Sorry for anybody that did. So again, it's Grade with Great Expectations. Have a great night. Thank you.